invited over importation of syringe and needles from China and India, despite policy guidelines against it in Nigeria. The chairman of the Health Committee, Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe, issued the summon on Monday at the public hearing organized by the panel. This was sequel to the Senate motion titled "The Need to Regulate the Manufacturing, Importation, and Use of Syringe Needles to Protect the Lives and Safety of Nigerians as well as the economy of the country." Members of the panel expressed displeasure over failure of the Ministry of Trade and Investment to implement the backward integration policy on local production of syringe 5 years after it was validated. They also berated NAFDAC for licensing companies in India and China to import syringe and needles into the country. You cannot keep licensing agents outside the country, outside Nigeria, to import syringe while local firms are dying. There is no complexity in the production of syringe. This was Oloriegbe's comment with regards to this. So first off, I didn't even think of it. When I saw the headline, I was like, oh, so I didn't even think that we were producing it here in the country. So it was after doing a little research that I realized that, oh, there were manufacturing companies that could actually produce syringe and this basic needle and also needle, but then we still import toothpick. So when my head, I'm like, we import. So this is something that is very medically inclined. I was in my head, most of the medical things we use in the country are imported, especially things as sensitive as this. Recently there was a report with regards to a particular I think a drip that a complication was highlighted on it, and one of the doctors or radio doctors specifically talked about this. But he said, despite the capacity of local firms to meet the demand in the market, an estimated 1 billion units of syringe and needles were being imported into the country per annum, country to lose huge foreign exchange. So therefore, the committee asked the Trade and Investment Minister to appear before them on April 15 to explain the reasons for the backward integration policy, which was validated in 2017, had not been presented to Federal Executive Council for approval. So definitely there had been a conversation on, oh, this should actually stop. We should stop the importation of this particular needle and syringe, but it had not appeared before the Federal Executive Council for approval since 2017. So this coming into limelight right now, if it wasn't brought out on the papers, I'm not sure I would have taken the pain to find out, because when we talk about medical things, I am always very careful and always agreeing that, oh, I didn't see it as a problem till I realized that we had companies in the country that actually produce them.
You see, one of the reasons we've been more of an importing country is because some people benefit more from that. I mean, the cost of production here and the cost of importation, it's always in 10,000 folds. You understand what I'm saying? So they tend to intentionally do that. But, we've had enough of the stories where we find out surprising events. We find out things we think is unbelievable. But then do heads roll. That's where the problem always is. Do heads roll? Will heads roll for this? I mean, we remember the wife of the president once said in the State House hospital,
yes,
there was nothing on ground upon all that's been advocated for it.
Just something funny that I want. Just something funny on this particular headline, which the president of the Medical Device Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Akin Oyediran, said that all 7 licensed local manufacturers had the potential to produce 2.4 billion units of syringe per annum if provided with favorable business environment. So these 7 licensed companies, local manufacturers, currently cannot meet the demand of for the syringe that is needed in the country because of the lack of favorable business environment.
We're talking about syringe now. We've had Audu Ogbe mentioned what's happening as regards rice. The fact remains, it's intention. Like I told you earlier, there are some people that benefit from this importation, so they make sure that everything is done for it not to work. For its production not to work in Nigeria. We had him talk about agriculture, how some people, some cabal would benefit more from importation of rice, and as such, they do what? make sure that the efforts to
Stabilize the
rice production in
But is this a function of individuals? I thought the stability of a sector of the environment is dependent on the government. Like when I hear people say,
I would blame it back on the government.
okay,
I mean, you know, when things like this happen, auditing, it can always be traced. But so far, so good. We've had so many of the stories, but nothing has happened to anybody. Nobody has been punished. I mean, not even a light punishment. So, I mean, it's going occurring. That's where the bone of contention is right now. It's not like, I mean, don't be surprised, another one will happen tomorrow. We talked about some billions of nairas found in someone's, I mean, meant for palliative.
yes,
found in someone's account. What's the last that happened to that?
Well, the person is actually late, so I think, but we didn't get a follow up on if the money was
I
recovered.
mean, what's
Yes.
happened with that? We've had I mean, just recently we had from the current NSA saying funds are missing. I mean, ammunitions.
Yes.
But what happened to that?
There's a conversation around $9.2 million US, which
what happened?
The Senate president, the CBN president is supposed to appear before the Senate.
That's just where the problem is.
One of the other very sensitive headline. In fact, I was very skeptical. I had to really think it through and look at the comments that have already been generated from this particular headline, and it's across all newspapers. And I'm really careful not to take it. In fact, I was going to avoid it, but I know if I did avoid it, a lot of people would ask me, why are you avoiding the headline? It's the headline with Buhari London, medical holiday today as doctors set for strike. And so yesterday on the radio, I had yesterday Monday, I had Nkechi Manolayode. We spoke highly, we spoke a lot yesterday about the strike, but the indefinite strike by resident doctors, which is going to commence 1st of April, and the conditions that needs to be met. And I was worried that we're already normalizing these kind of issues, but this is pretty interesting. So the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors on Monday insisted that it will begin its planned nationwide strike on Thursday, saying the federal government was not sincere in implementing the agreement. The first vice president of NAD, that's Dr. Adejo, who spoke on behalf of the president of the association in an interview with The Punch in Abuja, said government failed to implement an agreement it reached with doctors at a meeting held 3 weeks ago. They also stated here that the Minister for State, Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, urged the association to put on hold its planned indefinite strike. He said the planned industrial action was deemed apprehensive. Negotiations had to be open with the union. So now there is the conversation around the president, going on a medical trip. And this is spread across all papers. While the federal government was trying to convince the doctors not to go on strike, the president said that the President Muhammadu Buhari would travel to London on Tuesday for medical treatment. So these are my thoughts, right? These are the bone of contention and a debate that I feature on some other podcast platforms, and when they raise conversations like this, I'm always trying to look at the bigger picture. Questions: what have we done all through COVID? Could we have done anything dramatic during COVID to improve the health sector? I don't think we could have, because the world was on lockdown. So it was every nation fighting for itself, every country struggling to make sure that they were able to do the best that they can. In fact, there was a time where there was shortage of medical equipment globally. So could we have done any improvement during COVID? The answer to me is no. We could not have improved on infrastructure. We might not have been able to really make some massive moves. We can now start making those massive moves. But the question is the sensitivity of the time the president wants to travel. The resident doctors would
unfortunately, okay, this always been it's always been a normal trend with the president to travel for medical checkups, except I think for last year that he couldn't travel due to COVID lockdown. And I'm very sure that he still probably got medical attention here from the internal doctors, because this is about that time of the year he does that, and this time last year there was even nobody that could move from either a country to the other. It's I won't say it's just insensitivity, your doctors are going on strike, and you are going. It's more like me. I'm safe. I'm good. What concerns me with you guys, you will take care of yourself. And you see, there are
I'm
some.
concerned of the fact that is the president aware of this issue?
Hello, he is the president. And one thing I know about the president is newspapers are available to him every day. As the president, you don't have to be fed everything. The information is also out there. I mean, you just talked about a trending conversation now. When something is trending, I mean, if someone could have seen that viral video of that boy that was saying "calm down," that means they see everything. It's just as simple as that. It's just a case of well, I mean.
Well, and I really want the text messages this morning to be very, very civil as much as possible. As much as I agree with people, putting out their thoughts and comments, but I would also need people to be
I'm not
careful.
I'm not against the president going for medical trips abroad.
Okay.
I'm not against it. At least considering that our health sector. But what's he doing? He's been there for 5 years. What's been done to make the health sector better?
I remember specifically 2017, the current administration particularly promised to improve on 10,000 primary healthcare centers. To this very moment, there's still a conversation on if they have been able to deliver on 10,000 primary healthcare centers across the country. This is the newspaper review. Do well to send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. There's a headline here on one of the dailies on the Punch newspaper that says, journalists shouldn't escalate insecurity. Segun Adeniji and others. This came as the former presidential spokesman, Segun Adeniji, and some senior journalists in Nigeria on Monday called on the media to begin the de-escalation of insecurity and other violent crises in the country through reportage. They spoke during a roundtable with the team, the Media and Security Challenges, the Way Forward, organized by a non-governmental organization, which put out this particular mandate for there to be a conversation about it. I'd always spoken about the fact that I don't, as much as I am also in the media, I do not agree with all of the headlines that makes its way to the dailies. As much as everybody wants to sell the stories, the sensitivity of the times that we are. So recently there had been, use for example, America. You can easily differentiate between who a particular media house stands for and who they do not. So recently, Trev Noah, somebody I listen to a lot, compiled all what the media who is against the current president of the United States and put it out there. And I'm like, why? That's a country where there is even a lot more expression of freedom of speech. But for us here as a country and looking at the peculiarity of Africa and how sensitive information like this have been, do you think the media has in some ways contributed to prolonging this fight against insecurity?
I would say not just what the media is saying, it's also what we are saying. I'm not the type that gets easily swayed by the media, like I would always say, I am listening more to what's not been said than what's been said. And it's obvious, everybody is a blogger now. I mean, even people without the basic training in journalism. So it's just a matter of copy and paste. They want to drive as much as possible readers to their page, probably because of the financial gratification in that with is it the goggles and the likes, But that being said, a government should stop seeking excuses. Is there insecurity in the land? The answer is yes. Is it staring people in the face? The answer is yes. Just yesterday or the before yesterday, I was reading on our platform here on this area. Even the Long Bridge, there's been kidnapping cases on the Long Bridge. I mean, is that the press telling us that? These are even the news that does not make it to the press. It's not about what we read in the dailies now. It's about what's staring us in the face. I always told you I love driving. I want to go as far as my car will take me. But right now, anywhere beyond Ibadan, even Ibadan, I'm even more scared. I mean, I was also reading it some weeks ago that anywhere from Udumaki, I mean, some places around there, from that bridge inwards Ibadan, is risky now. There are times these kidnappers operate there. This is not in the news. This is based on first-hand experience of people. And these are even stories that don't make it to the news. So the question is there insecurity in the land? The answer is a big yes. A very big yes. And that's what should be tackled. Let's stop playing around the bush.
All right, 27 minutes past 8. This is still the newspaper review on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Do well to send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. We take this headline off the These Day newspaper that says traditional rulers pledges neutrality on national issue. So the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria has vowed to remain neutral on all national issues in order to promote peace and unity and progress in the country. The Sultan of Sokoto and the chairman of the council, Alhaji Mohammed Said Abubakar III, in his opening remark at the 12th General Assembly of the council, which started in Kaduna, in Kano yesterday, said the unity of the country is paramount and called on all participants to continue working towards brightening the country together. He says we want to ensure all political leaders of our neutrality in whatever we do, because we care for the country and our people. We will continue to help stabilize the nation. I was trying to lay my hands on a quote I read some times ago. I think last week I was surfing the internet and I found that quote. It says, always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressors, never the victim. Silence encourages tormentors, never the tormented. This is the words of Ellis Whistle, very great researcher and philosopher. So the neutrality of traditional rulers in this insecurity, not taking a demanding stand, is either you're standing with the people or you're standing with the government, but trying to sit on the fence. Is that going to make any impact?
You see, from even without Elsie's quotes now, it's a known factor that whoever decides to be neutral in a situation that's affecting lives is it's not, one must just take a side, and you as the people, you as the trusted class, or you as the class every other person is depending on. How can you say you're being neutral? How can you say you're being neutral? This is something affecting your people, and you're neutral about it. Whose interest are you protecting? Who then do you say you're leading? No, what's going on in Nigeria right now, it's only those who are benefiting from it that would decide to stay neutral. It's common sense. The country is at its lowest ebb ever, and you decide to be neutral. And the funny thing is, these are the voices that would resonate most with those in power. The common man like me, if I'm talking, I probably wouldn't be giving credence. But the moment someone like Akiolu talks, someone like Oni of Ife talks, someone like Emir of Kaduna talks, it makes its way to the dailies. Irrespective of what it is they're saying, it would always make its way, and it would always resonate. And they decide to be neutral? No, that's not fair.
29 minutes to 9. This is still the newspaper review. Do well to be part of this conversation. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. Just a quick reminder, I'd like to inform everyone listening this morning that the newspaper review from the 1st of April 2021, which is Thursday, just 2 days from now, it's going to start up at 7 a.m. in the morning. The newspaper review is going to be at 7 a.m. from Thursday, Thursday going forward. So 7 a.m. up until 8. We're just trying to move it backward, trying to get a lot more persons to be part of this. And we want to say thank you to everyone who sends us text messages at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock on the newspaper review. And I want to remind everybody that we are not changing. We're just bringing better improvement on the newspaper review. So everyone who keeps sending us text messages, just flow with us with the time. 7 a.m. Thursday morning, the newspaper review would kick off at 7 a.m. on Thursday to 8. So I'm going to give you guys more brief from tomorrow on all how the other programs would go, but specifically the newspaper review, 7 to 8 from Thursday. So do well to make sure that you go with us. We apologize for any inconvenience. We might have to wake you up early, to get to be on the radio, to pick up your phones, or maybe if you don't drive out that early, you might have to turn on your phones. But please, this is we're doing this for you. I can tell you that 100% that you do us a favor, spread the news for us. Hi, everybody. The newspaper review now on WFM 91.7 is now at 7 a.m. from Thursday, the 1st of April. All right, I want to read some text messages that I have here. Just to what messages coming in on 070-317-56537. This is from Chuks in Ikeja. Says, in all honesty, President Muhammadu Buhari is governing Nigeria like an emperor and keeps getting away with it because the Senate president, in coalition with the rest of members of the National Assembly, told Nigerians plainly that they are serving at the pleasure of Mr. President instead of performing the statutory function of check and balances that they are elected to perform. What a calamity for our country. It says, for Mr. President to having admitted that he had witnessed the pain and suffering of the civil war, agreed. But how come he's not doing his best to unify the country in order to avert a similar crisis today or in the nearest future? Taking Nigeria list. All right, that's Chuks in Ikeja. This in Peace Estate, Barwa says, injustice, nepotism, ethnic and religious marginalization is what is springing up agitation for separation by different ethnic groups in Nigeria today. Government should do what is right. Also, foreign medical treatment should be banned and our health sector should be fixed. All right, that's Jerry sending us the message. Let's take some WhatsApp messages, some text messages right now. It says, good morning, Daniel. Emmanuel Odili in Moe says, Nigeria has come a long way as far as the health sector is concerned. President Buhari will be on his way to London for medical trip while our doctors are on strike. What a nation, all right, full of hypocritical leaders. That's Emmanuel Odili. So PMB is about to embark on medical tourism again. When will we put our own health sector in order? Have we learned nothing from COVID? Imagine we are still importing needles and syringe when senior countries are thinking of building to the moon and even moving to Mars. This is a big shame on us. Chike in Akute. All right, let's do all to keep the messages coming in on 070-317-56537 to be part of the conversation here on the newspaper review this morning. All right, I want us to take the headline with regards to the president, speaking with regards to Nigeria better, stronger as one nation. And this is coming in from President Muhammadu Buhari. And the Nigeria is better and stronger as one nation. That's what the president had to say on Monday. He said, despite occasional inter-ethnic tension in our national history, it seems to me that we have all agreed on one point, and that notwithstanding our diversity of ethnicity, culture, language, and religion, Nigerians are better, stronger, and even stronger together. The president spoke at the event to mark the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 69th birthday. The 12th of this series was a hybrid held virtually, as well as the coronation at the Coronation Hall of the Government House in Kano. There's some guests led by the host governor Abdullahi Ganduje, and the celebrant were seated. Also, the vice president Yemi Osinbajo has said that if Nigeria breaks up, we would need visa to move around. And these were the words of the vice president. So the vice president, Yemi Osinbajo, on Monday told the advocates of the breakup of Nigeria that if it happens, people would require a visa to move around. The vice president stated this at the presidential villa in Abuja while participating virtually in the Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's event that happened in Kano. Putting together this headline and seeing how much impact has, led to a lot of conversation on the breakup of Nigeria. We've heard, things like, oh, this is this particular movement, this is that movement, this is this movement. How then do we begin to change the narrative right now? What do we need to do to begin to change the narrative?
You see, the only reason we've seen agitation for breakups is because of how people feel about being Nigerian. Who is really proud of being Nigerian, being in Nigerian now? Really anybody, except for those in power, those who are benefiting from being in positions of power. I mean, we travel out of the country. We travel even to Ghana. Using visa is not. Applying for visa is a norm. When you have to travel. So
Yes.
The fact remains, our unity, our diversity is supposed to be our strength. But unfortunately, our diversity is characterized by so much disunity. And this disunity is also something probably foisted on us by our leaders. You understand what I'm saying? They're always playing different cards to make sure the level of heat is increasing by the day. You understand what I'm saying? They play the religious card, they play the tribal card, they play the ethnic card. And our diversity, unfortunately, is not uniting us. And that is the only reason why the agitation for breakup is even on the increase. Right now, virtually the major 3 tribes of the country wants to go on their own. The only people that probably are not for that are politicians, as it were, because of that. I mean, that's just the simple truth. They are politicians. We have notable Nigerians come up to say. So the only way out of this, I'm not saying I'm solidly an advocate of break Nigeria.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is the government of the day still control all the aces. Like James Ali Chase said, they still control all the aces. How do they use it? How will they use it in the next 2, 3, 4 years? Is the question we should ask. And how they are using this is what we're seeing now. Our doctors are on strike. Our president is out of the country. How are they going to use it?
Okay, so let's look at the fundamentals towards the creation of the country called Nigeria. I'd listen to an historian make comments on the establishment of or the fundamentals towards the establishment of the country Nigeria. Started off as a business deal. Mentioned several other companies which are still in existence to today for some various reasons, but in understanding our diversity, in understanding the complexity of where we stand today as Nigeria, in understanding how the impact of the creation of Nigeria has led to us, continuously improving on ourselves. I was watching the documentary of the journey of the Nigerian colony, from the first the first impact of Nigerians with white people. That's in 1414 to when we got our democracy in 1960. That transition to where we are today. What is particularly important about Nigeria getting its independence that we need to go back to that can help us see the need for unity?
You see, power is always shared based on negotiations. And I think in the First Republic, immediately after independence, Nigeria was on its path to greatness. That was when we had the regional governments, when every region was building their capacity at their pace. And I think I read somewhere that even the Western region at a point in time was giving grants, not loans, grants to the federal government. But right now, what we see is we've seen the resources of a section taken from that section to develop another section. There would never be unity that way. there will never be unity. We thank God the Niger Delta militants are not as
the agitation
as subdued. When you look at what had come out from there and what's taken back into there, it's not proportionate. We talk about Lagos State. When we talk about what we generate in Lagos State, give to the central and what Lagos State gets back, and it's not proportionate. And it's all about numbers. We have less local governments here. There are more local governments there. We would always probably agitate that the population there is more. But what's the proof to that? You understand what I'm saying? So it's either we go back to the drawing board and start afresh. And that's why I keep telling you, I mean, the only people that probably feel things are going, we are not as diverse as some countries. Look at Canada, everybody wants to go to today. It's all about leadership. It's all about quality leadership.
Okay. Thank you. All right. 18 minutes to 9. This is still the newspaper review on Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Just a quick reminder again that from the 1st of April, 2021, which is Thursday, the newspaper review is going to be from 7 a.m. up until 8. And I want to sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this shift in time would be putting you through. But I want to tell you it's going to keep being that light bulb moment, still going to be the Thomas Edison moment that we always have here on the newspaper review. So do well to make sure that you're part of it every single day, and do not touch the dial as always. All right, let's read some of your text and WhatsApp messages. Chief Chima Waka in Ikorodu says, please, is Mr. President traveling to UK for medical checkup, or doesn't he want to be on ground when our medical doctors shall embark on their strike a few days later? When shall our health sector be improved by every successive government? That's a question Chima is asking this morning. It says, hello, Daniel. Oluwalao in Ogun State says, it is totally impractical to recruit 50 million youths into Nigerian army. Yes, we should recruit more youth into our security forces, reduce cost of governance, block financial loopholes, and stop corruption to get money to fund security. Finally, I suggest Mr. Tinubu should take his 70th birthday to 2022 to Enugu or Ebonyi State and build a north-south bridge properly. All right. That's Ulualao making comments there. This is from Tony. Tony says, meanwhile, from you, Tony, it was reported that at a point in time, past leaders of Saudi Arabia used to come to Nigeria for medical treatment, but today it is being reported and our president is about to jet out to the UK for medical tourism. What an insensitivity to the welfare of the Nigerian masses. Thank you very much, Tony, for sending in your message. Let's take a few WhatsApp messages here. 070-317-56537. Israel in Ogijo says Buhari can rule from anywhere, even beneath the earth. Now there is a full high issue, or to do agitation, Autumn's attack, and others. The president wants to travel to rest his head. Hope Oshibajo will deputize when we hear the latest. Safe trip, Mr. President. Israel in Ogijo. Rosan Mutiu in Alakbere says, welcome. Okay, so welcome back. Lobinko, all right. I hope PMB will listen to Tinubu on job creation on the teaming youth who graduate on yearly basis but could not get a job to do. Some of them are reasons for insecurity gaining ground, strengthening on daily basis. Debt profile keep rising, while some devilish politicians keep hoarding and stealing from the country despite the fight against corruption. Nigeria will survive. He also says here, this is from stealing from the country despite the fight against corruption. Nigeria will survive. He also says here, this is from Chuk. Chuk says, if Nigeria doesn't wake up in 2023 and choose their first 11, I am sorry for us all. All right. Israel in Ogijo, choose our first 11. And Nigeria will be playing today at 5 p.m. Let's all, put our hopes and be prayerful for Nigeria to win tonight's game. All right, let's go back into the dailies this morning and let's still talk about the fact that, at this Tinubu's, event, the series that marked his 69th birthday, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. A lot of people have a lot to say. This is one of the governors that had, when he was in Lagos, every other governor were most likely jealous or envious of how he was able to make Lagos the center of excellence, and he stood by the name as center of excellence. But a few things have been mentioned, at this particular birthday ceremony, where there was conversation around the joblessness of the Nigerian youth, and how he had made suggestion of, oh, why don't we recruit these persons into the military, and and this is the conversation that we are having right now, and this is a very, very sensitive issue, and I'm glad he took the time to explain, talk about national issues in this current situation of the time. About 23.2% of the population are currently unemployed, of the youth are currently unemployed. What are your thoughts on how we can, make these youths no longer unemployed? Can we achieve this? Is there any dramatic or drastic, or I don't know the choice of words to use now, to describe what can be done to get us, and how long, what is the minimum time for us to be able to have that shift?
You see, as long as it can be dreamt, it can be thought of, it can be achieved. Like I would always say, my professor in the university told me, we live or die by deadlines. When you look back, Vision 2000, if we'd followed it through, we wouldn't be where we are. Vision 2020, if we had followed it through, we wouldn't be where we are.
Now it's Vision
2030.
If we do not do anything now,
if we do not do anything, we will still be at where we are, or even we'll be drawn back. Yes, it's possible. You see, Nigerians' problem is holistic. First and foremost, the basics is faulty. Our education is nothing to write home about. So we produce, is it now even half-baked or quarter-baked products that unfortunately can, one of the major things education does is, good education now, it helps you into critical thinking. And when you are a critical thinker, then you can always make positive changes. But unfortunately, our youths, our children are not getting that. Now we have a big issue on our hand for those currently there. And one thing I've come to realize about Nigerians is Nigerians are not too they are not difficult. You give a graduate a job of 30,000-40,000. As long as they have a job, they're happy they have a job.
Now, one of the questions I put out to when I had this conversation last week, I spoke with Okeyefun Ajayi last week, and she's an educational business consultant. And one of the questions that I put out to her was, in a country like Nigeria right now, and the teeming population of unemployed youth, are the quality of the youth we have now, graduates, non-graduate youth, able to meet the 21st century employment qualifications?
The bottom line remains, truth be spoken, the answer is a capital no. We see, out of the only sound graduates we have now that we call it's probably from the private institutions, as it were. And fine, we have good products. At least people like us, we're from the local state universities, but the level of education in Nigeria is so deteriorated that majority of what is being produced out is nothing but quacks. But how do we go from here? That's the question we should be asking. Very simple. We need to find a way to involve those that are out already and then start working on the ones coming behind. We can't solve Nigeria's problem at a goal, but we can say in the next 5 years, we are fixing education. In the next 5 years, we are fixing education and electricity. In the next, you understand what I'm saying? It's all about deadlines. And the moment, when you work, I mean, for every business that is growing, it's also because they give themselves deadlines. You understand what I'm saying? Nigeria is a business, and if our leaders wants to be sincere, they need to treat it like one. Even after our leaders have embezzled the purse of the country that dry, they start up their business and they run their businesses like business. They don't run it the way they run the country. We see them fire people that steal just 2,000 naira or steal a sachet of Maggie. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. We saw one the other time that was that even goes to the extent of flogging someone he said was stealing part of what they were producing in his factory.
Let's take some messages here this morning. This is from Jimo in Akute. Jimo says, for president traveling when the medical directors want to go on strike, that is Nigeria for us. Please, most of our leaders have no interest of the population at heart. It says, Daniel, did we learn any lessons from COVID-19? We need to open our eyes to vote in 2023. We need an intentional leader who is ready to fix Nigeria for us. Our problems is not only the health sector, but sectors: health, security, finance, education. God save Nigeria. Chuk says, yes, you just reminded me of the march. The announcement that road around the stadium area would be closed to ordinary Lagosians from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. But yet we would open the so-called VIPs that the rulers of Lagos State, for me and you. I'm not sure I get your message, but I think I have an update on that. I will try to get more clarification on that one, Chooks. This is from Comrade Adejo from AJCT. Says the killing going on in the southeast, if it is not checked, will snowball into full-blown crisis like Boko Haram in the northeast. In a situation where hoodlums kill security agents and cut away their arms and ammunition is unaccepted, and more worrisome is how the leaders are keeping quiet. All right. Olu said, I can get our own president about to jet out. I think I read your message. Okay, no, it's a different one. About to jet out to London for medical checkup. When are we going to upgrade our health institutions to the extent that Boris Johnson will be able to come to Nigeria for routine medical assistance? All right. It says, rather gathering political gladiators have further shown crystal clear that APC and PDP are the same and like-minded, notwithstanding and there could be expectations if Asiwaju, if he decides to contest for 2023, could be a favorite of the masses with his recent advice to federal government on very pressing issues like mass unemployment. Even security agents like the suggested liberal form of tackling insecurity. All right, that's Damien's message here this morning. Says, good morning, newspaper review crew. Engineer Sojibadi just says, unfortunate that our president can still embark on medical tourism despite the economic crunch. I personally consider this as a disservice of the highest order and condemnable. The action will further kill our health system and encourage brain drain because we do not believe in our own health sector. Why is it difficult for average Nigerians to do what he or she preaches? All right, Engineer Sojibadi asking the question. All right. Akin in Nikorodu says, Daniel, greedy politician is the problem of Nigeria. We must never negotiate with bad. Thank you so much, Lobinko, for coming in this morning to join us on the newspaper review. And I made the announcement to you already. So this time next week, Tuesday, I'll be seeing you at 7 a.m. I know it could be a little stressful. I know I'm stressed.
It's always great being here. We can't afford to give up on our motherland, whether it's called Nigeria, whether it's called Biafra, whether it's called we need to, as individuals, keep playing our part in building a better community. And talking about building a better country or a state, it starts from where we are at the moment. Living good legacies. As individuals. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. And I want us to take that message home with us into our day-to-day as we go about our daily activities. Let's ensure that we are patriotic as much as possible in whatever it is that we do. My name is Daniel Adaja, and this has been the newspaper review. At 9 o'clock is the news at 9, and after the news at 9 is the big question. Once again, Please remember that from Thursday, the 1st of April, the newspaper review is going to be at 7 a.m. Thursday, 1st of April. Thank you guys so much for sticking by us. This is the newspaper review, and this is Women Radio 91.7.
We are WFM 91.7, the voice of women, using radio as a tool for women development. We condemn the abuse of women, girls, and children in any shape or form. WFM 91.7, the voice of women.
I beg you, where Koro dey? Koro not dey for Lagos, Joe. Government just dey take am, they deceive people now. No Koro for anywhere. Na malaria.
Coronavirus is real. More people are dying, more are infected. Koro is still in our midst. Easing the lockdown does not mean that the fight is over. Use your mask, wash your hands, social and physical distance. Stay at home if you have no business outside. Coronavirus is real.
Dear Lagosians, we are excited. We are gradually winning the war against COVID-19, which has been ravaging our state since February 2020. Finally, vaccines have been discovered. Out of the 4 vaccines, Nigeria has adopted the AstraZeneca vaccine, which has been tested and certified safe and effective. It is free. It is universal. So, the one we have in Nigeria is not different from that of other countries. Please dispel any rumor being spread about the vaccine. For more information about the vaccine, please talk to health workers or visit any of the government hospitals in the state to get vaccinated. Visit any of the 88 designated centers to take your dose. Please ignore scary rumors about the side effects of the vaccine, as no known side effects has been recorded. Though the vaccine is now available and 95% effective, please continue to observe all COVID-19 protocols. It is our collective responsibility. This message is brought to you by Lagos State Government in partnership with European Union and UNICEF.
For area, then they call me Papa 22. If you look my JC number 22, my keke plate number 22, my house number, of course, I. But you study with the limit, then they call. Now because I dey groove 22 times bonus on top every recharge.
Yes, so if you don't tell when you use your Glow line, reactivate now, make you begin enjoy your own go get 22 times bonus on top every recharge. You dey pay to reactivate your Glow line.
Glow Unlimited.
The big question.
Corruption is, in fact, is increasing more. We never had that snake and whether python and swallow him.
Why?
Everything has increased.
Conversational, controversial, and borderline disruptive. The big question. Mondays through Fridays from 9:15 a.m. only